King of Wands, the Magician, Six of Pentacles, Six of Cups, Ace of Cups, Five of Cups. Okay, so this is interesting. We've got a lot of cups, we've got a lot of sixes. Things are looking interesting here. Okay. Let me begin with the heart of the matter. So the heart of the matter, this is basically like the greatest summary of our current situation. And what we're seeing here is the Magician. The Magician is often described as like ability without drive. We have basically a man who's capable of creating anything. You'll see here on his desk, he's got like all four of the suits. He's capable of like bringing something into existence from absolutely nothing. What he's missing is sort of like a sense of direction. And so this might be like, you've experienced a lot of like training, you've experienced like a build up in your career to now where you are very confident, you consider yourself capable of delivering good results. But what you're missing is understanding exactly where you want to go next. And so this, I think, leads into the foil here. The foil basically tells us like what's blocking you from like achieving your short-term goals. And so Six of Pentacles is all about giving. Six of Pentacles tells us that like maybe there's been like an energy that's missing in your life where you haven't really been contributing to others or to the better of the world in the way that you think would provide you the most personal satisfaction. And I think that because you're sort of just directing your energy aimlessly, you're finding yourself having like a difficult time, and it's leading to some like emotional imbalance, and we've got some definite problems there. Now, Six of Cups in the past position makes a lot of sense. Sort of like nostalgia, childhood memories, fond memories, this type of thing. And so with Six of Cups, I think what we're seeing is that, you're looking back at history through like rose-tinted glasses. And, this is probably blocking you to some degree. Like this is definitely like causing some issues. And like just focusing too much on the past could definitely like, stop you from materializing your future. And so the recommendation from this card is, while these memories are good, while they do provide you sort of like a framework for understanding your current life, it's not necessarily worth it to make that your entire energy. Now, this we call the root, and so this is basically like your foundation, your core, and I think it's probably really relevant to what we've been talking about here. So Five of Cups is all about sort of like solemn sadness based on some kind of a loss. So maybe you've experienced a loss recently, maybe you've been fired, maybe you've been, you received some kind of like a layoff or something like that. Maybe it's a breakup. It could mean a lot of things. But anyways, you're experiencing some kind of loss and you're focusing on the loss. You're not thinking of what you still have. We see the 3 cups that are spilled right here, and then the 2 cups that are still upright. Your back is turned to the upright cups. So you're only focusing on the loss. You're not focusing on what you still have. You're not focusing on your blessings. And you're only getting half of the picture there. This also shows us, sort of like he's on the other side of the river from this town, which I believe is his home. And there's a bridge there. And this tells us that, maybe seeking solace in our home can be helpful. Like maybe, looking back to our roots, there could be something there that could help us. And I think that when we get to our aspiration here, that makes a lot of sense. So now our aspiration, I'm going to talk about the literal meaning of this card because I think that's more relevant to this particular position. So King of Wands is often going to be like a father figure. He might be a mentor. As a king, he is the only king who rules by divine right, as opposed to the other kings, which might rule by like cunning or conquering ability or something like that. He rules by divine right. You see all the salamanders and everything, and the lions, and he's very strong. He can be quick to anger, but his anger comes from a place of sort of like not understanding other people's incompetence. He expects everybody to be as competent as he is, and so this can turn him into being like a bit of like a stern leader. People often compare him to Alexander the Great as a leader, not as a conqueror, and I think that's particularly relevant here. What I'm seeing is that this might be your father, or it might be like a professional mentor, or it might be something like that. And you either aspire to be more like this person, or you aspire to, have a deeper connection with this person in some way. And I think when we look at like this concept of missing your home, we've definitely got an element of fatherly energy here, and so seeking out your father, getting his advice on something might be particularly beneficial to you, and I think instead of focusing on like the memories of your father, what we need to be doing here is focusing on like your future relationship with your father, and developing that so that you guys have like a stronger connection with one another. Now, as we get to this card, this is the most likely outcome. I'm going to tell you that it bodes really, really well, especially for this relationship with your father. Ace of Cups is all about like news or opportunity in the realm of emotions, relationships, connections, those types of things. It could be like the start of a new romantic relationship, but I think in this case what we're talking about is like a family relationship. I think that you and your father, you may have had conflicts in the past, because he is very quick to anger, and he expects the best of you. But I think moving forward, now that you have sort of like developed your skills to where they need to be, you have this opportunity to really, really connect with your father. And for those of us like myself, whose father is no longer with us, we might be sort of like coming to terms with like his memory. Maybe there was some like negativity there, and this is sort of like an opportunity for us to just sort of like reflect on the components of our fathers, who contribute to who we are today, and learn from that in some degree. And so I think that this whole spread bodes really well. It definitely took an interesting turn there in the middle, once we learned about the loss and the father issues. As always, please like and subscribe. I'm fairly certain that this broadcast didn't go through like at all. These internet problems are just driving me crazy. I've got a Optimum technician who's supposed to show up tomorrow to like fix it, but quite frankly, I'm not getting a good read on that situation. I would describe Optimum cable as suboptimal.